Welcome to Which Side Do You Want, where we talk all things tennis. I'm your co-host, Ruffin Thornton, and I'll be joined by my good friend, James Skinner.
Unlike most tennis podcasts, we cover hot topics, from the lawns to the concrete, from the pros to the park, and all things in between. Welcome to Which Side Do You Want?
All right, welcome back, tennis and racket sport fans, to our podcast. We're nearing the end of the short but substantial grass court season. And we're going to ramp up for this summer for not only the hard court season, but ramp back to the clay of Roland Garros.
Yep.
So, but in the meantime, we're here to talk about what's happening right now. Wimbledon. My boy's got on his Wimbledon shirt.
I had to rock the Wimbledon t-shirt.
We should be in all white,
I know,
but of course, we're not country club members, so hey, what can you say? Yeah. But anyway, how you doing, James?
I'm doing fine, Ruffin.
What's going on with Rising Stars?
Oh man, Rising Stars. We're taking a break this week.
Okay,
we're off until the 5th, and we start back up again on the 8th. And we started match play, so a lot of the kids now they get to show off what they learned through the week.
Okay,
match play, and it's going very well.
Okay, cool.
Yep, got about 36 kids who have signed up, registered, and we still can take on a few more if they want to come out.
Yeah, I hope they do, because this is the time, if you're anything like me, when I only started really following tennis and playing tennis when Wimbledon came.
Right.
So
that's right.
We both remember back in the day, the theme song, dun 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 dun. Anyway,
I figured.
that was
but you had to be an OG to remember that song. Most of the younger people don't know that. But it was a special song, and it represented one thing to all of us, and that was Wimbledon.
Actually, absolutely. And I was glued to the TV on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about Wimbledon. Let's start out by talking about the men's and women's draws. Which side do you want?
All right, well, I usually go with the women, but today I'm going to let you take the women and I'll go with the men today.
Okay. So what you got?
Oh, okay. Well, since I'm starting. Since I think you had a disclaimer you wanted to tell the audience.
Oh, that's right. So as of this recording, the first round matchups for day one have already happened. So we'll mention that in today's podcast, but we're also going to kind of mention a little bit later on some meaningful matches that we think are going to happen, and we'll give you our 2 cents on what we think should happen in these exciting upcoming matches.
Right. So, the first round, of course, is exciting. Oh, the grass is fresh and green. Right. And you see people coming out with the white on and everything, and it really gets you you get excited about the whole aura of what Wimbledon represents to our sport. And of course, we have the number one seeded player in the world starts off, and that, of course, is Italy's Yannick Sinner. Right. And he played a match against this young German player, Hoffman. And, we believe it. I don't think anybody thought that Sinner would lose that match. Right. And he didn't. Of course, he won, but he won in 4 sets. Right. And he had a little slipping and sliding on the clay. I'm on the clay, on the grass. Right. Because for Sinner, he's learning to play on grass. And and of course, they say that the conditions today were very wet and slippery because it's fresh. And so he had slips and slides, but he defeated Hoffman in 4 sets. But the reason why I brought that match up first, not just because he's the number one seed in the first match, but also because the other match on that draw, half of the draw, was played between Berrettini, Matteo Berrettini, of course, who is his countryman, and he played Fucsovics. Right. And Berrettini won also in 4 sets, but the thing is, now they meet each other in the second round, right? And that's going to be a
tough matchup.
Yes, definitely, because of course Sinner is number one in the world,
and you got Matteo, who's been in the finals,
of Wimbledon, and he is a tough player on grass.
Yeah, half of his tournament wins. Have been on grass. He's won Queen's Club, like I said, been to a Wimbledon finalist.
Got a finalist.
Yeah. It's an interesting fact. He learned from the master I saw recently that when he played Federer before Federer decided to retire, he got a lesson from Roger. And, of course, I'm throwing my Roger thing in there. But he got a lesson from Roger, and at the end of the match, he says, "Thanks for the lesson."
Well, if you're going to learn about grass
right.
and you learn it from Roger Federer, then you know what?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that lesson. And so that's going to be an interesting second round match. I think it's going to be I think it's going to go the distance.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, I give Berrettini the edge.
I might have to agree with you on that one, but we'll see.
We'll see. But he's come back. He's had injuries and stuff and hell, but his game, that's still the most unusual serve because he holds it with an extreme Western grip.
Right.
And it's just, but he gets so much pop on the ball, the thump on that ball and the big forehand. So he's going to be a nightmare to handle. And so we'll be looking forward to that match. Because there are other matches, I just want to jump on a few real quick. People who I think would need to be watched. And one was a surprise, but also it impressed me. The person impressed me, and that was the match between the 19 seed Nicholas Jarry
against
Denis Shapovalov.
Yeah.
And Shapovalov has struggled of late. And on paper, people thought Jarry would run through this one, would win this match. He's had an incredible season this year, and but Shop came out there and handled business and beat him in straight sets, which was the first big upset, I think, of the tournament.
Well, we say it might be an upset, but we know Shapovalov with his countrymen are supposed to be part of that new wave, the next generation, like we discussed last time.
Right.
Shop, he's got all the strokes. He's pretty one-handed backhand, lefty, and he thumps the ball off both sides.
Yeah, he just goes for it.
Yeah, but that's, for me, I don't think that's a surprise.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I when I first saw it, I thought it would be a difficult match. I just kind of thought, because of his past, and I think once he got the injuries and everything, it just kind of affected him mentally. And a lot of his matches, he just kind of took himself out of it. But today he played strong and he dominated that match pretty much. So
that's cool.
That's going to be interesting to see how far he goes.
Right.
If he stays on this course, he could be an upset. He could upset some people down the road. I can't say not about him winning Wimbledon, but I think he's can advance another round or two because his next match would be against Altmaier.
Okay, that's a winnable match.
That's a
winnable match.
Yeah, I think so, very much so. And so then just going back, we're looking at a couple others. We had Ben Shelton's match against Bertolucci, the Italian player. Surprised that Bertolucci was just playing. And also, too, Shelton, with all of his weapons, the weapons that he possesses, everybody think, grass should be one of a surface that he could dominate. I think he needs to learn how to play on it a little more.
You got to get used to movement on the grass. It's not like you see it every season, all through the year. So,
So his match, of course, he's down 2 sets to 1, but because of darkness, they canceled that match. But I think that's the best thing in the world could have happened to him. He can go back, get with his dad and his coaches and stuff, regroup, get his head, back and come back on that court ready to fire it off. And he needs to jump on Bertolucci right off the bat.
He does. He needs to bring the pain.
Yeah, that kid he was hitting the ball too. And it would be interesting to see because he would be playing the South African player Harrison, who had a big match today against the young American Mickelson.
Oh, Mickelson. Yeah, he pulled that out in the fifth set in the tiebreak.
Oh my gosh, did you see that last point?
I did not.
No, it was amazing, man. I mean, Harris, Lloyd Harris. He made a couple of ridiculous throwing his body at the ball to get across. And
Boris Becker in the house.
And after being down in that 5th set, they went into a tiebreaker. He was down in that tiebreaker in the 5th set. And I thought that Mickelson was going to pull it out, but Harris just kept fighting, and he making these dive saves and getting shots back. So So that's going to be interesting to see. So if Shelton get through that, I give him, if he can get through this match and get his head right, I give him a good shot at Lloyd Harris in the next round. But Lloyd Harris is one of those players too. He's had his core injuries about 2 years ago. He had an amazing run at a few tournaments.
He did.
And then he got injured, which happens, Then the other, of course, a couple of the OGs we want to talk about. Gregor Dimitrov.
Oh, yeah.
Gregor had a win today against Lajovic, straight sets.
Insane.
He is.
That was a routine match.
Yeah, it was routine. And he is playing some of the best tennis I've seen him play in a while. Yeah. And it's good. It's good to see. He was one of the ones that was, he had to come out of that whole baby fed thing when everybody compared him to Federer.
But rightfully so. I mean, you look at his game, there's a lot to see.
Yeah, but the game was similar, but the game wasn't similar.
No, well, the mentality was
right.
The game
it's of course, we always talk about it's more than just having a great stroke. Right. You got to be able to put it together. And so that was tough, for him. But I'm happy to see him doing well. I'm being successful at this. And I'm going to tell you, the match opens up for him too, because his next match will be against a qualifier. And so, I mean, he could get through.
Well, we expect him to do well anyway, because he's played well. He's done well in Queen's Club. The Jerry Weber Open in Germany. He's done well in the past. So he's like you say, he's an OG. He knows his way around the grass court. So.
Yeah, without a doubt. Another OG, standing man, Stanislav Wawrinka.
And he won in straight sets.
Yeah, he won in straight sets too. And he played a wild card. Right. But still, it's still a win is a win. And
at the pro level, it's all tough.
And for him, that was a good win for him because he didn't exert a whole lot of energy. Right. He's rested up and he wants to, play his way through. And then the final OG I want to highlight, of course, is one of our favorite two. We had two OGs in this match, and that was Gael Monfils versus playing Mannarino. And so you have two wildly veteran French tennis players. Right. Mannarino gives you nothing, hits all those flat shots and everything. But Monfils pretty much handled him, won it in 4 sets, and that was an entertaining match. But anytime you got Monfils in a tournament, it's going to be an entertaining match. He's going to always do something.
They were saying that the combined age of both was 73 years of age.
Yeah, they've been around for a while. They've been around a little bit. They've been around for a while. It's so funny. I just remember when Monfils was like the top junior in the world, and he was like the next hope, for French tennis but he suffered with some injuries and some stuff, and it's tough. But I would say all in all, he's had a good career.
Of course. And I'll take his career.
Yeah, oh definitely. And I wish him all the best. He's a dad now, so he's got other. But still, like seeing him out on the court.
Yeah.
And I'm just any other. Of course, Medvedev comes through. He wins the 5th seed. Danielle in straight sets, pretty much. Routine for him. Yeah. But notice he plays his match a little differently now. Not standing way back on the fence. He's more aggressive. He's up on the net.
He needs to be.
Yeah. So he's doing what he needs to do to be successful on grass. And he's always fun to watch.
Oh, of course.
He's the
the mad genius.
Yeah, the mad genius, yeah. And of course, then we go back to one of the overall favorites, of course, Carlito Alcaraz. What can you say? And look, that match, even though he won in straight sets, this kid Laha,
I didn't get his name at all, but I know he was ranked over 200.
Yeah. He was a qualifier. He qualified to get into the tournament. Dreadlock wonder, man. He has his hair pulled up in a little dreadlock spot, but they say he's been, but interesting. I say he's going to be a person who's going to be an interesting character to follow if his game goes. But he played well in spots, and I don't think he got. I don't think he was. Didn't seem like he was overwhelmed by the moment. Playing Carlos Alcaraz. On a main stadium at Wimbledon, and you're a qualifier.
Yeah.
But he went out there and he played, man. Big serve. He took it to Carlito, and Carlito won 7-6, 7-5, and I think he was 6-2 or something.
Yeah, it was like the third set was pretty much routine.
So he represented himself well, and he got that nice first round paycheck. That's probably one of the bigger paychecks he's gotten. Coming out qualifying.
We might make fun of him losing in the first round, but at the end of the day, he covered his hotel expenses. How about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. He paid that coach.
Right.
A whole lot of things he can do. It extends. Those wins, you win that first round or second round, and you're a qualifier or something like, man, you've extended your career. It's very important. So, and I we talked about in the past how that's so important for you to keeping that career going, getting that first win, second win at that Grand Slam, man, because that's where
that's where you make your money.
That's where you make your money and you get your points.
Right.
So, and then anybody else that we'll talk about real quick because. Francis Tiafoe. I want to highlight his match against Arnaldi. Did something he's never done before.
Come back from being down 2-0.
Yes. And, when he was down 2 and I looked and I was like, oh, gosh. Oh, God. Not this time. Not this. And then, but Tiafoe, his heart, man, was there. He fought back. He did what he had to do to turn it around, serve well, and got himself through. Like you said, the first time he's ever been down 2-0 and come back to win a match, and we just applaud him.
Right.
He's taken a hit the last few months about his play, and people are down. We don't understand what it takes to be a professional athlete at that level. What the strain, not just the physical strain, which was immense, but also the mental strain and all this stuff. And so it happens. It's going to happen. I don't think you count this young man out. His skills are still there. He hasn't lost it.
And even if it's between the ears, he still can get it back.
He can get it back. This was a huge win for him.
Right.
I think that he needed this win. And I'm hoping this will stir his confidence back. He's got the game to win. He's got the game to win on grass. And how far he can get, at least I think this will take him through another round or two because, let's see, he will play, he plays Berna Koric in the next round.
That's going to be a tough match.
Should be a tough match, but I think he's beaten Koric before. So
you don't know which Borna that you get. Because Borna, again, he's got a Masters 1000 and Tiafoe does not. He won it, I want to say, Indian Wells a couple years ago.
Did he win Indian Wells?
Before he got injured. Anyway, Borna, one of the things about him, he returns well.
Mm-hmm.
So Francis has got to be on his A game. Depending on how well Borna is playing.
Right.
And he's now in that, he's right behind that Zverev team contingent that was supposed to be the next generation that took over for
with Zverev
Novak
and Tsitsipas and all of them. Yeah, he was in that mix.
But the injuries hit him. So Francis is going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. We're looking for that. That's going to be one that we want to look out for. Be a good match. But I think it's huge for Francis, big foe. Man, I'm happy for him. I want him to move on and kind of get that monkey off his back, the proverbial monkey off his back, because he's still a good player. Then one of the young American, Brandon Nakashima, he had a good win today against Baez, who was the 18th and 18th seed, and that was a big win. And not just it was a big win, but he pretty much dominated Baez. Baez has had a great year also, and he ain't no slouch.
No.
Now, he's more stronger on clay, but he's had some hard court performances that have been impressive. Yeah. So he's no slouch. And he's an 18th seed, so that definitely tells you he's no slouch.
Yeah, right then and there, you get a quality player. Mm-hmm. And Brandon, just like Francis, has been lacking on confidence.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Somewhat maligned, I think, unfairly on some levels too, because you're right, he's had some injuries, some things he's had to deal with, which is tough. And it's coming back. But he played well today.
Yeah.
And he showed what he was capable of. We talked about him a couple years ago when he burst on the scene with that incredible backhand he's got. And and he represented well. I was watching him play a few parts of his bed. And he looked like the kid that we saw, that we thought that promise was coming.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. No, I wouldn't say anything.
No, I was just saying that, he played his points well, smart intelligent player, big backhand, dominated, kept the serve, kept Baez at bay with his serve. He did all the right things you do on grass, and I applaud him for a strong performance.
Right.
And hey, look, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He's dangerous. Do not sell him short. He will. He gets to see Jordan Thompson in the next round.
And that's going to be a tough match.
That's going to be a tough match, but that's a winnable match for him. I think Thompson is a tough player. Mm-hmm. He's a serving fighter. He's an Aussie, so he's going to be coming in.
He's coming in.
And everything. So Nakashima is going to have to pull and push him back. That's going to be a good match.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah. Of course. Oh, well, since we one more American, Tommy Paul. He looked very good in his match against Martinez. He's won. He's the new number one American player now, and
I think that's going to be musical chairs throughout the season.
You might be right. You might be right on that one, Ruff. But right now, he's the man.
Right.
And hey, Tommy is probably one of the most athletic tennis players we've had in a while. He's everything's kind of coming together for him. This is the promise as a junior when that everybody saw coming. It's starting to come to fruition for him. And man, I like to see him go deep in this tournament.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're hoping for him. We always have our fingers crossed for the Americans. So.
Yeah, and he's got a qualifier in the next round too.
Okay, that's cool.
He could go far. And so we're looking. This is going to be an interesting tournament. I'm looking for a few more upsets coming down the road. But the men got off to a great start this year. The American men, are we going to get somebody into the quarters of the semis this year?
We will see. I mean, we've got the players there, but they got to do it on the court.
Yeah.
Just to add to what you were saying, you mentioned Alcaraz. So, it's unfortunate that the defending champion has to play the number one seed if they get to the semis.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, we were talking about this earlier, Wimbledon used to be that one of the four slams that had the leeway to change the seedings based on who played well on grass in prior seasons. Mm-hmm. And I know they changed that rule a couple years ago, but Carlos just missed being the number two seed because he lost like 450 points because of some performance from last year. And Novak vaulted him back to number two in the world. So Wimbledon followed the seedings currently as of, I want to say, June 30th. Mm-hmm. Not June 30th, when the seedings came out and when the tournament draw was. What was that, last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had just vaulted over Carlos. So they had to revert back to Carlos being 3 and Novak being 2. And we say that because we know Novak's coming back from the knee injury after 24 days since he had to withdraw at the French Open. And sure, we would love to see a Sinner Novak matchup in the finals, but last year's breakthrough win for Carlos last year after only playing 2 tournaments, man, to win your second tournament on grass ever, to be the Wimbledon Championship against a 6-time, 7-time champion. Yeah. That's great. But anyway, enough about the men. At the time of this recording, the results will have changed and it kind of makes it not as relevant.
Well, and I'm glad you closed it out talking about the Joker, Novak, because that's everybody. All eyes are going to be on him tomorrow.
Right.
As he plays his first match, and is he fit? He claims he's fit, and who knows his body better than he knows his body. Right. And so we're looking to see he's fighting against. He's fighting history, fighting for history, but he's also fighting against time.
Right.
And
Father Time is undefeated.
There you go. So we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be interesting to follow him to see how far he gets and if he can get hold that that title up one more time.
We'll see. Personally, I'm not rooting for it because I'm a Roger fan, but nothing against Novak because we know he's the GOAT, and we're gonna have to revisit the GOAT issue as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the women for a second. So for some of the more interesting matchups on the women's draw that I saw, we'll start out with the number one player, Iga Swiatek versus Sofia Kenin. We got 2 Grand Slam champions playing the first round. Yeah. That's just like what happened to Coco last year. She played Kenin in the first round, and she came on the.
That's right. Kenin knocked her off.
Wasn't the results that she wanted, but she learned from it, and she said that in today's interview.
Oh yeah.
Another really good. We were expecting a really good couple of matches on the women's side, but some of these women have already withdrawn. For instance. Arna Sabalenka, she withdrew with a shoulder injury. Mm-hmm. As well as Vika. Yeah. Vika Azarenka. She also withdrew with a shoulder injury. Yeah. So they had to get those lucky losers that into the draw, and their opponents for Azarenka, it was going to be Sloane Stephens. That was going to be a tough match. Yeah. Sloane does not have a good record against those top players, even though she really can beat Azarenka, but that's between the ears as well. So Sloane ended up winning her matchup against a young Italian very easily. Yeah. And I don't know who Sabalenka was supposed to play, but she would have been favored no matter who was across the net, unless it was someone like Badosa, her buddy, or Iga, or one of those Von der Rosas or Rybakinas. So another key matchup was Naomi Osaka versus Diana Perry. Naomi, she took matters into her own hand and came out with a straight set win. She won. No, that's right. You're right. She lost the middle set. That's right.
It was 6. She won the first one 6-1.
6-1. She lost the second one 6-1, and then came back and won the third set. So. But considering that this is her first win on grass in 2,100 and some odd days, that's great. It's good. Really, and I'm gonna have to eat those words because I thought after her pregnancy that she was not going to be the same player, and she may not be the same player. But she seemed to be reinventing herself. Just ask Iga because she had her sweating bullets. Some other tough first round matches that I saw on the women's side. Tomorrow, Ayla Tomljanovic versus Yelena Ostapenko. That's going to be a barn burner. Now, that's the only one that I see that's still there. Another good one. I don't know the results, but this match was played earlier. Paula Badosa versus Mukova.
Oh yeah,
that she's also had injuries that I don't know the actual results, but that would have been a great first round matchup. And on the women's side, it's a little more straightforward than on the men's side, but I'm also just proud to see all of those women playing. Like Raducanu, she's coming back from with injury. She was going to play at Alexandrova. That was the other seeded player.
Oh yeah,
that was going to be a tough
Wimbledon champion.
So that would have been a really, really tough first round matchup. But like I said, the women, they tend to. And we got to tip our hats to Sakkari. She took out an American.
Qualifier one. Was it qualifier?
Was Emma Navarro, right?
No. Navarro's.
Not Dolahide, because Coco played her today.
Yeah, it's. I think she played a qualifier.
No, but it was an American player. But
it was an American player.
Can't remember who it was. But anyway,
she won pretty convincingly.
Yeah, she won easily. So, the American contingent on the women's side is going to do their thing. Coco had a really good, solid win over Caroline Dolahide.
Tough player, man.
Right. Jessica big serve.
Plan, but yeah, you're right. But you said it earlier. I think it's like she learned from that loss last year. And I mean, she's a problem solver, man. That's one thing. She went back and she reconstructed herself and she got wins. She got, so now she's in a better position. I think she is, still, that still the Swiatek thing, but grass is a different animal.
It is.
Right? Grass is a different animal, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think she'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask this question. Again, like I said, the women are always going to tend to take care of themselves. Who are you liking on the women's side? Just the players to potentially get deep with. We're not making any predictions, just to get deep in the tournament.
I'm gonna tell you, a couple people jump out. Of course, everybody's favoring Swiatek. I don't think Swiatek's gonna win this title. I just don't.
She's not ready for grass just yet.
She's got some players in there that are going to her first round.
Right.
Kenin.
Yeah.
That
could be an upset. You're right.
That could be an upset. And because Kenin has won a Grand Slam title.
Right.
And, she can take it to you. Mm-hmm. She's, her ground strokes, she's steady, and she obviously plays well in those big moments. Right. So she could be one that could open up this draw like the Grand Canyon.
Absolutely.
And so also, now that I look at other people, like we talked about Vondrasova,
right?
Previous Wimbledon, when if she gets on a roll, she could be dangerous.
Yeah.
She could come in, and I think she could make some headway. Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
If the draw opens up for her, it
kind of has now that Sabalenka's out of the tournament.
Yep, exactly. So, I was early on. I was looking at. I wanted to see how Madison Keys was doing in this, and if she gets that, it's almost like sometimes she has to get a rhythm to her game. Because she, of course, is also one that has everything it takes to win this tournament.
Sure.
Now, but
she just has to minimize the unforced errors that are unnecessary. That was what Lindsay always said.
Exactly. And so she's one that I'm looking at, could be Lumen. Now, could she win it? I'm still, other things would have to happen for that to take place, I think. But for her to get into the, definitely to the quarters, the semis, that's very doable, and so there are a couple people. And then there's, like you say, you got somebody like Austin Pinko out there.
I wouldn't consider Ostapenko a favorite. She hits hard, but she is so mercurial.
If she gets on a roll, she's the type of player that she's going to be, she kind of floats in that, that 15 to, what is she at now? She's in that,
she's
that
top
range.
20. Yeah,
in that 15 to 25 range or something. Right. But on any given day, she can take out anybody.
Right.
And grass, once again, grass is,
Right. So speaking of Ostapenko, check out Ostapenko's really, really, really bad serve that's floating out there on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's horrible. She's serving in the deuce side. And it's so funny. She ends up swinging at the ball and it goes past the double side and on the ad side. It's so funny. But yeah, that's another player that could do some damage. Here's some of my favorites on the women's side. Danielle Collins. Yep. I think with this being her last year, she's on a mission and she's playing carefree with nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Yeah.
House money.
And she's playing well.
Yep.
Man.
Ons Jabeur, she wants to get back there, so we'll see. Let's see how well she does. If she's gotten over those hiccups that she had in the last couple of times, if she's gotten close to a finals, the Open and last year's Wimbledon. Right. Here's a player that I like that many people might not consider for grass, Maria Andreeva.
Oh, yeah.
With her coach.
16-year-old or 17-year-old. Yeah.
With her coach, Conchita Martinez. Ooh.
Yeah. Who is a Wimbledon champion herself.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm that's one of my players to watch. But,
Yeah. She can make, I think she's going to make some headway in this tournament. She's going to get through a couple rounds. She is a phenomenal talent, man. She's got that kind of all court, all everything game.
No weaknesses.
None. And here's the other key too. She's not afraid of nobody.
Right.
That girl walks on the court. No, I don't care who she's playing. She expects to win.
And
absolutely. You don't see any, for someone that young to have that kind of confidence and everything. And so, it's kind of Steffi Grafish in a way, you know, because
a little
Steffi
bit.
Graf had that even as when she was like 13 or 14 years old or 15, whatever, playing. You know, I'll never forget. She was about 14. She played Martina Navratilova, and she lost to Martina, and she was upset that she lost. Martina was like the number one player in the world.
Right.
You know, she was upset, and she goes to shake her hand in the net. She just brushes Martina off. She was saying, Martina was like, okay.
Right.
You know, so that kind of, you know, on one hand, you go, she's something. Who she thinks? No, it's just that in her mindset, she shouldn't be losing to anybody.
Right. She should have won that match.
If I play my game the way I should play, I should beat everybody. And there are very few players that have that mindset.
Right.
Even at this level, there are very few.
Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos is one. Yeah. But so in any event, she's Andreeva's got her future.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about on the men's side some of our favorites. You know, you mentioned the classics, Novak, Alcaraz, Sinner. We didn't mention Zverev. He plays later on in this week.
Yeah.
How about some of the home flavor? Jack Draper. Playing well. Yep. Just lost in the semis to, or was it the quarters, to Tommy Paul. But, you know, he's going to have some home crowd support.
Yeah.
So, you know, he might do well.
He's one that was pegged, you know, he came up with, you know, with Holger Rune and all that crew of these young players who had no fear, went after, and injuries have kind of curtailed his.
Right. He's coming back from some injuries.
He's got all the gifts, man. Yeah. I mean, and on grass, he should.
Yeah, and he's going to be on that net.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And everybody in that stadium is going to be pushing for him to win. So, he could definitely, he's one to look at. Could do some things, do some damage.
My only other dark horse on the men's side, or player to watch, not a dark horse, might be Hubie Hersot.
Oh, yeah, Hersot. Yeah.
Solid on any surface, big serve, top serving player.
It's not afraid to come into the net.
Has all the tools. You know, we forget that this guy played Roger Tough. You know, we're talking about grass court specialists and kings of grass. He played Roger Tough, so you can't discount him. Just like some of the others that we've talked about already.
Right.
So let's keep it moving. So as we start to wrap things up, let's ask this question. Who are you rooting for? I mean, it doesn't matter. Just pick one aspect of a player or a group of players. Who are you rooting for, men's or women's?
On women's?
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm definitely rooting for Coco Gauff to win this whole thing. You know, I'm a big Coco fan. And I just like to see her put it together. And it would be significant on many levels for her to win Wimbledon. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I think of Althea Gibson.
Sure.
Okay, so the first African-American to win a tournament was Althea Gibson when she won Wimbledon. I'm trying to think, did she win that French Open first? She may have won the French Open, but but she won Wimbledon. I think of Venus and Serena Williams, both owning the Wimbledon title, African-American players. And she is sort of like that legacy. She's part of that legacy. She was inspired by Venus Williams. Today, I think, was the anniversary of her upset 5 years ago of Venus Williams at Center Court Wimbledon, when she was this 15-year-old kid that a lot of people heard of. But she quickly acknowledged the fact to Venus, which was such a poignant moment, that, she wouldn't have been in this game without her.
Without following her.
Inspired her to want to play and do this game. And so we definitely want to see her do well at this tournament. I would love to see her hold that Venus Rosewater dish up, so that's one person I would like to see. Another person is just a personal favorite, but I don't think she's really going to have a chance to win it. Well, she might. And that, of course, is Paolini.
Yeah.
Now, I like Jasmine. I just like watching her play, and she's just fun to watch play, and the energy and everything she brings. Now, her chances of winning are really slim. We got it. It's going to be tough for her, but she has some skills that can get her farther in this tournament.
Yeah.
People underlook the fact, she doesn't have a big power game, but that girl moves well.
Well, she does have a big power game for a little player.
For a little player, but she's not up in the level of. She's not going to blow you off with her serve. She's not going.
No,
but she is.
But the ground strokes are there.
Her ground strokes are there. She moves extremely well.
Right.
She's low to the ground.
Yep.
At Wimbledon, the ball bounces low. It doesn't bounce up high.
So you're saying it's got her. It's got her advantage.
Exactly, in her hitting zone.
Right.
And what she does to a crowd, man, I've never seen a crowd that gets, she because she's diminutive, and small and everything, you see her going up against these big, tall, behemoth women, and then she's in there fighting and battling. You can't help but for the entertainment factor alone, I just would love to see her get far in the tournament. Will she win? I don't know.
Right.
That a whole lot of stuff was going to have to happen for that to a whole lot would have to happen.
Yeah,
so chances are that's not going to happen. But she's one I would favor on the women's side. Also, too. We're looking at, and I'm getting ready to jump on a couple of other American players, but I'm gonna leave with you. Talked about Collins already. I think it would be great, but Madison Keys would be one too.
Okay,
love to see her get through. Grass was when she came up as a youngster. First, I just said, oh man, she's gonna win Wimbledon.
Sure,
this girl's gonna win Wimbledon. Right. It hadn't happened. It's been a lot. It takes a lot to go from promising to champion. The whole lot has to happen, and just for her, those pieces haven't all come together at one time. But she has one on grass. She's got a couple grass titles and
Queens Club.
Yep. And did she win Eastmore too, or just Queens Club?
I can't remember.
She has another one somewhere. But in any event, another person that I would like to see do well now. If you want to go back to, we're looking at players that I feel could. We talked about Vondrousova, who also has been there, knows how to and gets on the road. But then the other person I was looking at is the other. Tomjanovich is another one who can play. She gets on a roll, and it'd be interesting to see her do well in the tournament.
Sure.
So just a few. There's some others too, but for the sake of time, we don't leave point, because they're all of these women are extremely, extremely, extremely good players.
Yeah, of course. And you don't get to be a slouch at this level. So.
No, that's why these people coming up, how's that qualifier doing so well? Because that qualifier can play.
Right.
They just, for whatever reason, something has happened. They haven't had the opportunities to get advanced. Right. But it's not that they don't have the skill set.
No, it never is. Again. But yeah, that's, those are the players that you're rooting for. Mm-hmm. So, let me give you some of my players. I'm not really rooting for a single player, just like you had multiple players. I'm rooting for the American qualifiers, especially on the women's side. Katie Volinic, she was the number 1 seed in the qualifying tournament. She's in the tournament. She plays tomorrow against Maria Lourdes Carly.
She's a tough player too, man.
Yeah. Alicia Parks. She's got a tough first-round matchup. She plays Caroline Wozniacki.
She's got all the weapons to do well on grass.
But she's got to put it together.
She's got to learn how to play on grass.
Another player, Robin Montgomery.
Yep.
She's got what might be a good opportunity to win. I'm not going to say a winnable match, but a good opportunity.
Montgomery is the future. Her winning isn't right now, but if her team keeps her on the path, that she's going to come up maybe in a year or two.
Right.
And it's because she's young. She's still very young, but yeah you're right. But she's got some skills.
She's got some skills, that big forehand. We've already talked about this. Big serve, big forehand, big girl. So she's one of those qualifiers that I'm hoping for. Also, the last qualifier that I was rooting for, but of course she lost to Maria Sakkari today. Mm-hmm. Marty Kessler.
Okay.
She lost today in straight sets, 3-1. Mm-hmm. But still, that's who I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
So like I said, we could go on and on.
Yeah, those are some good choices. Those are some good choices. Good players.
So let me ask you this question. Do you have any interesting facts, since it's Wimbledon, and we always like to watch the sport of Wimbledon, or the tennis of Wimbledon, I should say. But do you have any interesting facts?
Well, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, okay.
There are plenty of when you say interesting facts about Wimbledon,
right.
There's so many interesting facts about Wimbledon. I'm going to pass it over to you, my brother.
Okay.
And let you go ahead and...
So the one question that I always wanted to know was, how do you, Wimbledon is a membership club. And you always wonder, these upscale clubs, how do you get membership? Well, there are 5 categories for membership at Wimbledon. You have a full membership, you have a lifetime membership, you have an honorary membership, you have a temporary membership, and then, of course, you have the junior membership.
Oh, of course.
So the full and the lifetime memberships, they're limited to 375. Period. That's it. Full and lifetime. When you have full and lifetime, you've got full use of the club. You just make a call, you get reservations, and boom, you're on the courts. Except for those 3 weeks of Wimbledon. Honorary are selected by committee. And most of these honorary members are past singles champions, or someone who did exemplary work within the sport of tennis. Okay, so that's how you get an honorary membership. There are 120 temporary membership slots, and all of those are elected by committee and renewed annually. So you might be there 1 year, you may not get renewed the next year. That's why it's temporary. Now, to become a member, one must be proposed. That's number 1. Seconded, number 2. And then 4 existing members have to support in writing your membership into the club.
Okay.
And there's a waiting list of about 1,000 more dating back to years. They didn't even say how long.
Right.
So you can imagine. But I thought that was pretty interesting, that most people might not know about Wimbledon, you know, the club.
Well,
you know,
on one hand, it sounds like any other exclusive country club.
Absolutely.
CCV. And
right.
You can't just, I got some money, I want to get by membership. No, you have to be recommended.
For those of you that don't know who CCV is, Country Club of Virginia, since we're out of Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, it's Richmond, Virginia's answer to Wimbledon. I guess it's oldest, like probably one of the oldest clubs out there. But still, it's so funny because, we look at, and that's a great fact that a lot of people, but to become a member, and you told me the number of members, and I'm like, that's it?
That's it.
That's it? So that tells us something about this club and about who they allow to come into this club, because... And of course, they have a huge fundraiser, Wimbledon, and it's like they make a lot of money off of Wimbledon. They also do the merchandising of the clothing, and I'm Rolex is a sponsor. They're giving all them everybody's giving them a check. But it's just the fact that they've kept it. It's probably extremely exclusive. And for you or I or any other common person, it ain't gonna happen.
It's probably not gonna happen unless we got deep. Did I say deep pockets?
And even then, you gotta get somebody to recommend you. Somebody. So unless you win the title.
Well, that ain't happening at our age right now. But
period. Even if I was 20, it won't happen. But that's very interesting about the exclusivity of the club.
Right.
And it's been doing it this way, I guess, since its inception.
Since the British Lawn Tennis Association created a club.
And remember, it started off as a croquet club.
I know.
And apparently croquet was like a huge thing back in the day.
Well, we heard
I don't get it, but
the women in the ruffle
feather. Croquet was the big deal. Okay, but and we talk about at that time, the wealthy, they were the only ones. They were the leisure class. They were the only ones who could afford to have leisure time, because everybody else back in the 18 or 1900s,
they were working class.
Working class. You had to work. You had to work in that factory. You had
the
to
only
work
time
on that
you
farm.
would see Wimbledon is if you were working it.
That's right. You didn't have much time for leisure and to just go out and play croquet or play some tennis. So, and those traditions, on some hand, to me, Wimbledon has always been this kind of double. I on one hand, I love the tradition. I love that whole, because you go back and you look at old footage. You see the ivy growing up on the
walls,
and you see the people in all in white, the players and everything. But then on the other hand, you look at it and you're like, yeah, there's some other bad stuff that came through that tradition.
Yeah, we're not as well. Go there.
Yeah, that whole classism and, but and how, that's a whole nother story. We're not even going to go there, but we're going to enjoy this tournament because it is the seminal tournament of tennis. And it's been doing its thing for a long time.
And there's a reason why they call it the grandfather of all tournaments.
Right, exactly. So we just want to watch it and enjoy.
Yeah, and we've got the next 2 weeks to watch this. By the time of this recording, we'll have probably about a week left before we come back and do a wrap-up of Wimbledon in a couple of weeks. So, So any parting words about tennis going on right now? For anybody in the local area, we have Tennis Under the Lights. Right. Richmond Tennis Association does this program. And the next one is going to be July the 11th at Battery Park. And that is around Arthur Ashe's birthday. I think his birthday's on the 12th. We're going to celebrate his
birthday. People will come out. If you're in the Richmond area or greater Richmond area, you might want to go to the RTA website and go ahead and apply, fill out, submit your request to participate. It's free of charge. You go out and they'll give you a clinic, and then they have a little round robin tennis tournament, and it'll be under the lights of Battery Park.
Yeah, and definitely come on out if you want to enjoy and celebrate the life of Arthur Ashe.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. All right.
So, like we always say, it's that time of year.
Oh man.
Summer. We appreciate you coming to listen to us talk about tennis. Again, if you like anything that we say, just remember to hit like, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom, and come back and enjoy what we got to say again. So, and as we always say,
go out and play some tennis.
Go hit a tennis ball.